recapping the Blue Jays and the Mariners. I was polling for the Mariners because they're the last franchise that's never even been to a World Series. And I would like to have seen the Big Dumper continue his season. What he ended up with 65, 70 home runs this year, I think.
60.
No, including the regular season.
Oh, total.
Yeah. So I think 65. I think he's hit more home runs, if you include the postseason, than any player in American League history, if that sounds right. But he was in the on-deck circle. Julio Rodriguez was at the plate, and you had Cal Raleigh there in the on-deck circle. George Springer. It was a reminder night for George Springer because you go, oh, that's right, he was with the Astros. Yes, those Astros. But his numbers, he's not a Hall of Famer, but he's the Hall of, I want that guy on my team, especially in the postseason. He has played 78 games, and he has 23 home runs. So he's tied for third, I think, on the all-time postseason home run list. Now, granted, more postseason games. Mickey Mantle and some of those players played in far less playoff games because there were less matchups. They didn't have, NLCS, ALCS, the divisional series. They didn't have a wild card. But George Springer is unbelievable. And here is the call last night as he wins the American League Championship Series.
1-0 pitch. Swing and a fly ball. Left field and deep. Arozarena turns. Gone! A Springer dinger. 4-3 Blue Jays in the bottom of the seventh.
I love that. A Springer dinger. And he is clutch. You talk about leadoff hitters, leadoff home runs, and he's got 293 home runs regular season in his career. So I think he's 1 out of every 3 at-bats in the postseason he hits a home run, and 1 out of 5 maybe that he hits a home run in the regular season. Those are pretty good ratio numbers there for George Springer. 4-time All-Star. He was an MVP of the World Series in 2017. You still have the Astros cheated stench that still permeates with all these players. Not as much, it'll be in his bio, but really I think it's, kind of focuses or centers on Altuve. But Altuve is going to be a Hall of Famer. But George Springer, that's money. That is a guy in the postseason. And he's got a banged up knee because he took a foul ball off his knee. And I know there'll be revisionist history of you can't walk him. I would have walked him. I would have walked him I would have pitched to him because of the knee. I didn't think he was taking healthy swings. And John Smoltz talked about this. Now, I can talk about his history, not wanting to pitch to him, but I'm talking about what happened in this series. I didn't think he was completely healthy, and he was going down on one knee sometimes when he was swinging the previous game. I would have pitched to him in that situation. I wouldn't have given him that pitch to hit. It's one of those where you go, how about the corners? That one's right down the middle. And he was waiting. And that was awesome. So George Springer and Seattle's how many outs away? Like 11 outs away? Yeah, Marvin.
Do you think he's in that same category as maybe like a Madison Bumgarner? I don't know if Madison Bumgarner is going to the Hall of Fame or not. But I know when it was money on the line, he was going to come through.
Yeah, I think there's a few of those, not Hall of Famers, but Hall of I want that guy on the mound for my team, or I want that guy in the field. And Springer was a DH. He couldn't, he didn't have the mobility because he took a foul ball right off the knee. But that brings us to our first poll question, Seton.
Indeed it does, Dan. So, would you rather?
Okay.
I'm gonna phrase this a little more nicely.
Okay.
Would you rather ... win on a team accused of cheating, or be a generational talent who never wins anything?
Okay. Yes, Paul.
Now, I wrote that poll, and it was a little differently worded earlier. It was, would you rather have the career of Mike Trout or George Springer?
Okay. I'd rather have Mike Trout's career because he's one of the great players of all time. Springer, right place, right time, and performed. And yes, that's a big stage. I was watching Cam Newton, or a clip of Cam Newton saying that he wouldn't give back his MVP that he won to win the Super Bowl. Because he said winning an MVP, I'd take care of my family. Now I'm paraphrasing here. You know, the Super Bowl, that's different. I was the MVP of the NFL. Now, I think if it was just a one-off and I'm Cam or I'm Matt Ryan, I'd rather win the Super Bowl. Because you still get the benefits that go along with this because you're really good quarterbacks and you get paid. But Cam said he'd rather have the MVP. If I asked George Springer, would you rather have your career or Mike Trout's career? Do you think George Springer is going to say, I'll take mine?
Hell yeah.
All right.
Most people would say they'd rather have their career, than
even though
somebody else.
you're attached to the Astros. So you have to factor that in. It's in the first paragraph of your bio. You have to have that. You got to take that with you.
In the first paragraph, it's potentially 2-time World Series champion, 2-time MVP, perhaps in those.
Yeah.
One of them is the Astros.
Yes, Todd.
But the top of the other bio is one of the all-time greats that didn't do a thing and has nothing to show for it.
I don't think his bio
They
is...
would write it a little differently, but it's basically, here's a list of the great players that have no titles and did relatively nothing in the postseason.
Yeah, I think they might soften it a little bit, with his Hall of Fame plaque. Yes, Paul.
Trout versus Springer is our baseball version of Calvin Johnson versus Julian Edelman. It's close. It's apples and oranges, but it's the baseball version of that discussion.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going Springer.
Including the cheating allegations.
Yeah.
With Edelman's
Edelman.
team.
Him. He got caught.
Oh, yeah,
with
steroids. Oh, yeah. I think I said I'd take Edelman. So maybe I'm not following my own lead of you want to win. You want to win. Yes.
Right. There's like a certain part of this is, say, cheating or underachieving. Another part of it is being dominant or being a winner.
Mm.
I for some reason, it feels weird to say this, but winning is being underrated right now. Winning is pretty great.
Yes, Paul.
And Springer's not a niche player, a guy who tagged along for a World Series. He was directly responsible for 4 All-Star appearances is really good. He got a lot of his career and made a lot of dough.
He hit 5 home runs back in 2017 to be the World Series MVP.